Hi, I wanted to talk today about why we choose toxic relationships. So I hope you're doing well, and I thank you for watching and following. And I just wanted to go over again why we choose toxic relationships because sometimes we're not really sure. And that's a good question to ask ourselves. Why did we choose to be in a toxic relationship? But most of the reasons why you might have chosen a toxic relationship is because that's what you're accustomed to. So you may not have been certain that this person was toxic until you got into the relationship for a little bit. And a lot of times, people who have never been around toxic people fall for toxic people or abusers because they are just not aware that they're being groomed. So what being groomed is, it means basically they know that they're setting you up to treat you in a different way than they're portraying that they're going to treat you from the beginning. So some people call that like future faking or love bombing, but basically you're being groomed to fit inside a toxic relationship, to operate the way that they want you to operate down the road. So they spend a lot of time telling you things you want to hear so that they can groom you to get into these relationships. But if you are already familiar with toxic relationships and you're accustomed to them and to people who are toxic being in your life, then this isn't going to stand out as a red flag. They're going to do a lot of the things that you've always known. So the only way to really break free from that is to break free from it so that you can see the difference. So you need to be so if you're not sure if you're in a toxic relationship because you've always been in a toxic environment, then you need to get as much information as you can so you can find out what a healthy relationship or a healthy family dynamic looks like. It's not going to come natural for you, and it's not even going to show you what red flags are until you find out what green flags are. Okay, so what you're looking for in a healthy relationship. Then you realize, wow, this relationship isn't healthy at all. So then you have tools. So the first thing that you need to do is educate yourself about healthy relationships. And that's everywhere, right? So um, the best way to do that is to start acting healthy yourself. The minute you start acting healthy and operating outside of a dysfunctional pattern or a dysfunctional manner that you used to operate in, it causes complete chaos with your toxic and abusive people. They don't know how to receive this. They want you to play the role that they groomed you to play. So what ends up happening when we get educated, and one of the things that abusers are afraid of, they're afraid of you getting educated. They're afraid of you reading the domestic violence literature. They're afraid of you stepping outside of whatever situations they have you in, situationships that they have you in. Like your abuser might want you to be really friendly with their mom, but their mom was a victim of abuse themselves. So they're actually groomed as well. So an abuser will want you to have all of your relationships and friendships with other people who are groomed. So if somebody actually comes into your circle and you meet somebody, let's just say you meet somebody like another parent of your child or someone outside of the circle that the abuser actually have you in, that you don't realize that they have you in a toxic circle that you're in, and it's a community of toxicity. If you meet somebody who's outside of that circle with a different belief system, well, the abuser has a radar for this, and so they'll do whatever they can to manipulate that friendship so that it doesn't go any further. So you might see somebody from week to week when your child has some kind of a lesson, another parent, and you converse with this person weekly. Well, now your abuser or your toxic person going to be like, "Oh, what are you two talking about?" They want to find out everything they can about this new friend. And then they'll start saying things like, "Oh, so you have a new friend? Who is this new friend?" Um, and you won't even know what happened because um you have a different kind of a personality. If you're not an abuser, you actually are able to be friendly with everybody. And abusers don't like that because they have a radar of either you're going to be somebody who's groomed, you're you're anti-toxicity and you know all about them, or you're somebody who is on the same level as a toxic person. So I guess in an abuser's world or a toxic person's world is three people. So it's those who can be groomed and controlled, those who are unreachable, unattainable because they're aware, and then there's those who are abusers and toxic people themselves. So your toxic person is only going to want you to socialize in those two groups of the people who are already being abused or the people who are abusers themselves. So when you go into that middle group of the people who are healthy and don't work out of a abusive environment and have healthy objectives, that makes the abuser nervous. So they'll start saying things like, "Oh, did you see your friend today?" And if they run into your friend somewhere, like, and if you live in a small town or something and you're starting a new friendship with somebody, if they run into that friend somewhere, like at the gas station or something, right? They will literally go over and say, "Oh, and say, "Hey, my wife, wanted me, or my girlfriend or my sister wanted me to talk to you or whatever, and say hello, and I heard the two of you are, getting to be friends." And little by little, this person will say things that aren't true about you, like, "Yeah, well, be careful for that one because this person can be kind of, I'm just warning ya," but like kind of act like they're helping the person out, not to get involved with you. And what they really want to do is keep you from getting outside this abusive circle. And they will do this for every person, every place you go. If you go to a healthy place, like you want to get healthy and you join Weight Watchers or something like that, well, they'll do whatever they can to prevent you from going there. They'll say, "Did you know? Look at this article about Weight Watchers. It's a scam. You're spending your money for nothing." Whatever they can do to keep you from escaping the abusive circle. So, how did you end up with a abuser, a predator, or a toxic person? Is because you probably grew up in a toxic environment, or you were friends with somebody who lived in a toxic environment and you met somebody in their circle if you came out of a healthy environment. Or you were actually just groomed because you were unaware of toxicity. You grew up in healthy and didn't even know people were anything but healthy. So by the time you realize this person wasn't healthy because they acted healthy for so long, you're stuck in an unhealthy relationship. So that's basically what I wanted to say, because you ended up finding the same thing you were used to. So, and there's a good reason for this. It's not all bad. So don't blame yourself, because when you're around people who are abusive and they are toxic, you feel like you need to protect yourself because there's constant onslaught. They're, like I said, they're affecting your relationships. They're commenting on everything that you do. They're trying to keep you basically dumbed down, is what they're trying to do, right? They don't want you to get educated about what's happening to you. And the thing is, they know what they're doing because they know the difference. So what they do is habitual, and they're in a cycle themselves, but they see the difference for healthy and they don't want that because they feel like that's too much work. They know it takes work to be healthy and that they would have to do a complete rewiring, and they're not, they're okay with how they operate because they can actually get people beneath them, people they can groom, people they can control, and they don't mind being friends with these healthy people. They'll be friends, but they'll only stay at arm's length from them because the healthy people aren't going to be able to be used to their advantage, and they don't want to mess up their setup where they're using people for their advantage. So they work overtime trying to keep things just the way that they are because they like how things operate. So when you're trying to get a healthy response from somebody who is not healthy, and you're working towards working in a healthy, responsive way and interacting healthfully, they don't want to do that. So they're not going to. So every time you try to move forward in a healthy direction, whether it's finding other healthy relationships, educating yourself on what is a healthy relationship, because all of this is actually making your immune system sick. It's breaking down your body. It's breaking down your nervous system. It's causing confusion. It's messing up your hormones. It's raising your cortisol. So the reason why we need to get out of these relationships, number one, is because they're making us sick. They're slowly killing us. Okay, you don't hear about people dying from abusive and toxic relationships, but they are because they've lived for years and years that way and have gotten very sick because of it, and the illness actually is the cause of their death. So what we need to do so that we can get healthy on this healing journey is figure out why Why are we attracting toxic people? Why are we attracting predators? So that's what this message is about. And so that's why, because that's what we came from. And I'm going to do another message on a little bit more than that. So thank you.